Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us this week. My name is Beth Gay Freeman, and my email is bethscribble@aol.com. And if you would like to subscribe to the paper that I do, it's free, no charge, no strings. And this is how you do it. Just go to electricscotland.com/BNFT. It's free. I promise, no strings. This week, we're going to learn some more about things that we have loved all of our lives, nursery rhymes. Most children know the rhyme. Sing a song of sixpence, a pocket full of rye, 24 blackbirds baked in a pie. When the pie was open, the birds began to sing. Wasn't that a dainty dish to set before the king? The king was in his counting house, counting out his money. The queen was in the parlor, eating bread and honey. The maid was in the garden, hanging out the clothes. Down came a blackbird and snapped off her nose. This rhyme is interesting to me because it was well known in England in the 16th century. Now, at that time, both Queen Elizabeth and Shakespeare were living, and it was already an old favorite nursery rhyme. I wonder if Queen Elizabeth and Shakespeare heard this and knew this as children. Bet they did. In 16th century England lived a man whose name was Jack Horner. He was awarded a fine plum of an estate, lots of land, and a beautiful home, which he got out of land seized by King Henry VIII from the church. Remember this little ditty? Little Jack Horner sat in the corner eating his Christmas pie. He put in his thumb and pulled out a plum and said, "What a good boy am I." Knowing what you know, it has a completely different meaning, doesn't it? Now we're going to go backwards about 100 years. In the 1500s, peddlers at country fairs would sell what they called chap books, which contained nursery rhymes popular at the time. This rhyme was popular in the chap books, not only in England, but in Spain and Spanish America too. And here's one that was in the chap books. Simple Simon met a pieman going to the fair. Said Simple Simon to the pieman, "Let me taste your ware." Said the pieman to Simple Simon, "Show me first your penny." Said Simple Pieman to the pieman, "Indeed, I haven't any." Simple Simon went a-fishing for to catch a whale, but all the water he could find was in his mother's pail. Just interesting to know that in the 1500s, people were hearing and knowing these very same poems. When 11th century nobles sang of knightly deeds, the common people in England wove their own merry ballads, pouring out their joy in life, their love of pretty fair maids, small birds and forests green, the red rose and blooming things. Remember, when woods awake and trees are green and leaves are large and long, 'tis merry to the walk in the forest fair and hear the small birds sing. From the 11th century. And this one too. There are 12 months in all the year, as I hear many say, but the merriest month in all the year is the merry month of May. People have been loving that since the 11th century. Coming forward in time a little bit, we had from the Kentucky mountains, "Over the hill to feed my sheep, over the hill to Charlie, over the hill to feed my sheep on buckwheat cakes and barley." And another one, "Charlie's neat and Charlie's sweet. Charlie, he's a dandy. Every time he goes to town, he gets his girl some candy." These rhymes show Kentucky mountaineers kept alive the memory of Bonnie Prince Charlie. Oppressed in Scotland for their love of Stuart pretenders to the English throne, they came to America in the 18th century. Many settled in Kentucky, Tennessee, and Georgia. I just happened to think I have growing in the front of my house a plant, and guess what it's called? It's called Creeping Charlie. And that Charlie comes from Bonnie Prince Charlie as well. Our Scottish heritage shows up in all kinds of ways in our lives. Now, the earliest rhyme I have found is from France. King Dagobert once wore his breeches turned hindside before, said Eloi the friar, "Oh, my king and sire, those breeches on you are all wrong side too." The king said, "You don't say, then I'll turn them the other way." King Dagobert was a king of France during the 7th century. He was the father also of Charlemagne. This was fun. We'll do more another time. Thank you so much for enjoying this with me, because I've had a good time too. Bye now.